Boy, the amount of communication transmissions that my crystal core is communicating to me this morning, and then I share it with other beings in a few windows. But it always goes back full circle of a couple of terms that I've used throughout my life when I was a child, when I'm running around at 5 years of age saying, you're synthetic, you're plastic, right? And it sort of goes back to the Hegelian dialectic. A parasite does what a parasite does. Now it's experiencing the test result of what it does to itself, which is self-annihilation. See what it does when I begin to communicate with you on the phone, a deadlight phone, QI, quantum intelligence phones. And this particularly as it relates to California, for example, while I worked in California as it relates to synthetic telepathy, polygonals, as it relates to mathematical tables like a hex nut table. So, for example, I took a geography class when I got out of high school, and they were talking about how in the state of California as it relates to aquifers and recharge and how that works with a carbon cycle and a water cycle, using polymers as fertilizers, synthetics, like synthetic oil, like castor oil, to produce a synthetic food supply. And a synthetic food supply, the statistics that they gave us is a diagnostical manual of a brain disorder, a cellular disorder, annihilating your cells to become more artificial, to become more artificially plastic, synthetic. Then crystal base, Breatharian form. I am Breatharian form. I never lost my memory. Breathing as one with a crystal core, known as a crystal star, eternal crystal star, the eternal crystal wave. So I'm running the crystal pink wave right now. I see it. I see a reflection of what I am on the inside, the crystal form and flow. So there's no delay. So there's no decay of a crystal star, of an eternal star, is returning to form to experience being whole pie again, which is no pressure, to experience the true still point of a true vacuum. So these are like old files that I just pull up and share with some other to provide some context, especially for those that I'm working with as it relates to fire and ice, join as one. And when you get into what I call food density networks, when I shared a lot with Karen in the past, and she knows this. Okay, it's not like I'm reinventing the wheel here, like the medicine wheel, right? Of structures, mathematical structures between, if you will, an alpha omega system, an AO1 system, which is binary, which is 222, which is 666. Because they were informing us of that when I was about 17 years of age. They rotate 6 crops a year to produce 75%. How much of the planet is water? 75% of the agricultural food density phase lock of artificial QI intelligence coded mathematical structure of a synthetic food industry was providing, as they said, 75% of the synthetic food supply that's now being consumed by cellular processors by virtue of what they're consuming, which is the 222. Now they're becoming more synthetic. Now that's synthetic telepathy. Right? Now we're back to the Borgia-Mates quarantine. Now we're back to when I'm a child. That one's not real. That's 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 not real. There's synthetic. There's synthetic. There's synthetic. There's synthetic. As plastic. And how plastic relates to what? Dirty electricity. Protecting themselves from dirty electricity that they generate. Xenobots. Xbots. Xenobots. Like Xenobot botanicals. Oh, synthetic botanicals. Synthetic flowers. Dead water flowers, dead water tables. Why we're here, a crystal water table, breathing crystal aquifers, the Breatharian form. So that's why I knew as a child, and it's not funny. Remember when I was a child, they would put food before me. No. If it's not pure crystal core, do not run that through my cellular processors. That's not crystal structure. Airson 999. Do not run those codes. Those are not real codes. Those are not eternal codes. Those are not crystal codes. Do not run those codes. Oh, how do I explain that to my parents at 4 years of age, sitting on a table? They all look around and look at you. Who are you? You're exposing all our codes that we're held captive by because we're not aware of it. And you are? Because you're experiencing the one you serve, which is the crystal core. Now something's wrong with you. Now we're back to Neo. Neo, one of us has a future. Remember the little holographic mathematical map where NASA says the future is now? And how that relates to the future potential memories of real trees, the real permanent records, the first sound recorder, the first spin of a crystal core, the crystal star, the crystal code, the Sophia code, 2 Foursquare crystal, cathode ray lava tube, yeah. So yeah, it's, when you already know this before you're born. When I came in, precisely right on time. There was no errors. There was no mathematical error in the elemental union of experiencing being one, to experience no pressure. Nothing's happened yet. Nothing exists. How does something exist out of nothing? That's real magic, isn't it? That's pure magic. That is the most powerful magic because that's the most powerful force of life, which is the sound, the crystal sound, the acoustical wave, the organic water code, breathing the organic water code, to torque convert. That's what we do. We torque convert it. That's why I don't use the word transmutation. Even though I know what a transharmonic unity wave is, which is elemental union, experience being one with all the elements. I'm everything you are that I see in the mirror. So we know what elemental union station is a PlayStation. As an antenna, an eternal antenna, a crystal wave. The acoustical chamber, the true still point of a real chamber, a real vacuum. Yeah, so that's what it is. You knowing the difference between a real acoustical wave, breatharian in form, breatharian in form and flow, the function of flow, the function of water, the function of fire, fire and ice, experiencing being one, in perfect atmospheric structural integration. To experience breathing as one with the first breather, eternal crystal star. Breathing is one. Breathing is one. That's a clear airway. That's a clear sound. That's a crystal sound. Wow. Yeah, crystal radios. The radio math, the math of radials. The size of the halo. Wow. Yeah, halo clean. Cleaning the mess up. Cleaning up the dirty electricity. The shadow body, miasma. Burn it off. I'm not going to show you what's been. I've thought about doing that. I think I may have done that at one time, but it's my body's purging all the synthetic stuff. Has been actually all my whole life, and so I'm down to just trying to cell discipline, cellular processor discipline, It's all mathematical. So I'm experiencing getting rid of the codes bit by bit, bit by bit. Right? Now I'm not experiencing those codes anymore. Wow. Returning to Breatharian form. Now I'm not needing to plant another plant that I'm in love with. And I'm experiencing pure, eternal, absolute love in me, which is the power quotient that plant is experiencing what I am. So I'm not going to uproot that or consume what it is that I just created, because what I just created is born out of what I am, which is what love is. So I'm not going to consume more of what I am in my own mirror by having planted something as a seed. That would be like eating one of my own children. Know what I mean? I know. Leave the electrical plants alone. They are performing a function of electrical power. Leave them in the ground. Leave the silver and the gold in the ground. And you would be surprised what happens when you do. The silver and gold made in Uche, the crystal core is the one I serve. Ah, yeah, have a beautiful day. We love you all, equally sharing what I am, which is what love is. Ah, yeah.